Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to our Q&A session. So again, before I get started, this is the QR code. This is the QR code for today's session. I'll wait for a couple of minutes for you to register your attendance. And bearing in mind, the session is not compulsory, yeah? And it's only for those of you who and about previous sessions and especially about your formative coursework. So if you don't have any question about the module, the previous sessions, or your formative coursework, you don't have to attend today's session. Or you're welcome if you want to listen to other people's questions. That might also help you or remind you some of your own questions or the problems you might encounter in your coursework development. Have you finished? Should we move on to the questions? And as you know, your formative coursework will be due on the Thursday by 3 p.m. And you need to submit an electronic copy online and through Blackboard or eVision. Okay. So you can type your question on the chatbot if you wish. So can I have you started working on your formative assessment? So raise your hand if you have started. Yes, excellent. Because I don't want you to actually miss this opportunity to gather some feedback for your before you move on to your summative coursework, because it's very important for you to choose the correct and be able to know how to or the approach to answer each of the coursework questions. So how do you do your desk research? What would be the direction that you should take to develop your summative coursework? And if you have some misunderstanding about your summative coursework, yeah. So far as I understand, only 3 people in the class started so far your formative assessment. Oh, okay, 4. Okay. It's not compulsory, and the session is, well, the formative coursework, and it's designed to help you develop your summative coursework. So yeah, you need to make sure you're on the right track and find out the problem as early as possible. So you always have an opportunity to change later on your summative coursework. So any questions? So this is supposed, and I suppose those of you all want to listen to others' questions, or and you don't have to actually stay for the whole session if you don't have any question. Is it no, it's not compulsory. As I said, it's entirely up to you, because I have to give you opportunity to develop your course or test your ideas. but it's definitely not compulsory. But your summative is compulsory. Yeah, formative is not compulsory. It's entirely up to you, because we're giving you opportunity and to help you develop your summative coursework. It's entirely up to you if you want to take advantage of this opportunity or not. But my advice is, why not? Yeah, why not? But at least you can, gather some feedback or make sure you are on the right track. Yeah. Because what I don't want to happen is, in your summative coursework, that I actually found out you have chosen the wrong company. It doesn't really meet the coursework requirement. Okay. Should we submit our summative? No. You don't. Lecture, your summative is due on the 5th of September, but your formative coursework, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, is going to be due on the 19th of July. Okay. They will be due at different times. So you need to submit your formative first and then summative. Can we choose the same? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I would encourage you to coursework so that you can gather some feedback. Yeah, and you don't waste your time and effort doing research on the same or different companies, or the same company is better. Yeah. So it's better to use the same company. But of course, if you find out that you have chosen the wrong company, so you in this case you have to change. Yeah. Or if you find a better approach, or you find as you develop your formative course, or you find there are companies that you are more interested in, or then definitely you can choose. Yeah. You don't have to use the same company, but by using the same company for both pieces of coursework, you save your time and effort. Yeah. So yes, the formative is going to be due on the 19th of July, or no. You have to. We only give one opportunity. You submit on the 19th of July. If we don't mark any late submission for your form. Only by 3 p.m. 19th July. If you don't submit anything, and that's it. Yeah. So it's going to be any. Yes, there will be more teaching sessions next week. Yeah, we'll have 3 more sessions, one on the 19th and the other on the 21st, and the last session on the 26th. And please do make sure you all attend the session on the 21st in person, because go through your summative coursework requirement. It is very important. Okay, to make sure you don't miss anything, you have to attend the session on the 21st of July in person. And from next week's session, we'll not have any online learning session, but we'll still record our sessions using a different software, but not through Blackboard Collaborate. So you do make sure you have, because sometimes unless for a session like such, and it's not entirely compulsory, but for any compulsory session that is important for your coursework, it doesn't make sense for you to learn online. If only passively, it's better for you to interact with the session, interact with your course mate, so that you can remember the knowledge for much longer period of time. Yes, as I mentioned in the second session, and your formative coursework requirement, and especially in the proposed potential or possible structure you could have, you need to discuss, especially the coursework question asks you the impact of home country institutions on your chosen firm's host country operations. So you do have to mention how your home country, your chosen firm home country influence your chosen firm's host country operations. So you do need to talk about the host country operations. Okay, so please do make sure you read your coursework questions 3 times before you work on the coursework. For any coursework you're going to have, do make sure you read the course requirement at least 3 times before you start writing the coursework requirement clearly and carefully. Same reference. Yes, of course, if you choose to use the same company for both your formative and summative course, of course you can use the same reference, no problem. And I don't see the reason why not. Yeah, because you're using your coursework. Yeah, because it's a process you're building up. We're helping you develop your summative coursework. So certainly you can use the same information sources and same background work. So they're not, look at them, if you choose the same company, they're not two separate things. So they are you're building up your work in a path dependent way. Yeah. You're saving your time essentially, instead of waiting and work. Any other questions? Another point that I want to remind all of you is focus on the latest information in 2022. Yeah, there has to be all the information that you gathered for your chosen company has to be the latest. For example, it cannot be something happened in the past, but now the company has changed in 2022. So that doesn't really count. Yeah. Yes, it has to be the latest information in 2022. So for example, if there's a change in the company's CSR policy in 2020, and then since that change, the company still use the same CSR policy in 2022, that's fine. That's fine. But if a company change their CSR policies in 2020 and then they make another change in 2021, and then they now change, well, they changed in 2020, completely changed in 2022. So you need to focus on the one happened in 2022. Yes, the latest information precisely. And if there's a change happens before 2022 in 2021 or 2023, as long as there's no further change ever since the last change has been made, and that's fine. That's fine. But all the information has to be the latest. Yeah. And also, as I mentioned in the last session, do make sure you choose a multinational firm that has some production or manufacturing operations in your chosen host country. Otherwise, you'll find it very difficult to answer the coursework questions on its organizational structure and internationalization strategies. Because if a firm doesn't have operation in the host country, it enter the host market through exporting, or in some cases licensing or franchising. They don't really have any organizational structure because they don't have subsidiaries. Yeah. So essentially, you should focus on those multinational firms enter your chosen country subsidiaries, precisely using investment-based entry strategies. So that's more desirable. And the other point I just remember is there's no point for you to choose when bankrupt already. Yeah. So although you think it's funny, but there are some students in the past I had, they have actually chosen a company that already went bankrupt. So don't choose companies like such. So any other questions? No? Good. No questions. Okay. Anything else? Any further questions? And after the session, you can, but before your formative coursework or before your summative coursework, you can always email me. You always have opportunity to ask questions either through email or during my normal office hours. Yeah. Good. In closing host countries, it doesn't have to be the latest host country. Yes, that's right. That's right. Choosing, yes. It doesn't have to be the latest. Any host countries, even it could be the first host country you're chosen from entered. Yeah, you just need to make sure the information for the in 2022. It shouldn't be any change up until the time that you focus on. Is the material section on Blackboard? There are no more lectures. Oh, there is session. Let me check. But thanks, Camilla. Let me check. There are sessions. I don't know why you couldn't see. You couldn't see the sessions. Let me see. After today's session, immediately you will see the next session. Actually, I'll just let it go live. They haven't go live now, but I will let it go live now. There will be 3 sessions, yeah. So one on next Tuesday. So if you want to make sure, why don't you check your module outline? and which can also be found on Blackboard. So it clearly summarizes the list of sessions you're going to have and the time. Okay. Session 9, there'll also be session 10. So we have 3 more sessions. I'll just make sure they're on live, but anyway. If you check your learning materials now, all the 3 remaining sessions will show on the Blackboard. Yes, so your session 9, 10, and 11. So you'll see everything. Okay. So you know where to find. By the way, do you know where to find your formative and summative coursework? You know where to find it on Blackboard, right? Yes, yes. But now I make sure all the learning materials and readings are live on Blackboard. Yes. So there are several places you can check the 3 sessions. First, on your module outline, and second, as Jepap mentioned, you can find out on your Outlook, and also you can find out now on Blackboard. But you know, the question is, you know where to find your formative and summative coursework, right? On Blackboard. Yes, good. So they are, yes, excellent. So because there are some students ask me how to find, they couldn't find the formative and summative coursework on Blackboard. Find it on under assessment. Yeah, you see module assessment, and if you on Blackboard, if you click module assessment, and you'll find both your summative and formative coursework. Yeah. Good. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, the other thing I want to remind you is when I finish marking the formative coursework, when you get your feedback, please do not pay too much attention to your mark and pay more attention to the comments and feedback. Yeah, so these comments and feedback is or should be your starting point for you. Doesn't matter because it doesn't, your formative coursework doesn't count anything for your final mark of this module. Yeah, regardless of high mark or low mark you have, it doesn't really mean anything. But the most important thing is the feedback comments you receive. Of course, you can get a higher mark. It's good, means you are doing a sort of excellent piece of job. But if you fail, or if you have very low mark, and actually you should feel it's good. You find out your problems, yeah, before you move on to the summative coursework. So you know where and how could you improve your summative coursework. Yeah. So pay more attention to the comment and feedback. rather than the mark, the actual mark you get, because they don't count anything. Okay. So when we choose motivational forms for the formative, can we? Oh yes, of course. Excellent, excellent. The session I ask you, if you like, you're always welcome to send me your selection of coursework company, host countries, home countries. Yeah. So as I mentioned, my fear is by the time when I mark your summative coursework, I find out that actually you have chosen the wrong company. That's that's a consequence that I don't want to happen. Yeah. If you've chosen the wrong company, and then you fail the entire coursework. I don't even need to read the detail. So please do make sure, if you're not sure about your chosen forum and its host country and home countries, email me. Yeah. Any other questions? I just want to take this opportunity to ask, do we have anybody who are living far away in this classroom, living far away from Norwich? Raise your hand. Oh, only one person. Oh dear. So how to? Oh dear. One. So how would you? Where are you living? How would you? Do I need to include a suggestion session at the end of the? No. You don't have to, because you only have 750 words, and the key thing is the coursework questions, not the suggestions. Keep it short and precise and brief. Only focus on the key coursework questions. Yeah. Oh dear. All right. You're welcome. So I'm wondering, how would you manage? I don't know. How would you manage to come to the lectures if you don't live in Norwich? Of course, session I offer online Blackboard sessions, but some of you do not come to the lecture in person. Yeah. So I'm really worried about the outcome, your learning outcome, because it's completely different in comparison to your come in person. And that's why in the next 3 sessions, we'll not offer any online learning session. Rather, we'll still record our lectures after the session, but we don't offer some online learning sessions anymore. And primarily because of low in-person attendance. I'm really concerned. It's not like I'm not willing to offer the online learning session to accommodate some of you living far away, but some other might take this opportunity not coming to the class in person. Yeah. So that's why I tend to cancel the online learning session for the last 3 sessions. So if you miss the session, you can always watch the recording afterwards. But there will be no live sessions. Yeah. Is it possible to open a team group? I will try. I will try next time. But I need to know who they are, you know. I will try. What I'll do is next time, I will open my team. And while I'm recording, I'll simultaneously invite 2 of you, or if, okay? So I will open the team. I'm not sure if that works, but I'll try and see what happens. But I assuming team, you know, team cannot, team doesn't have a function that, you know, while I'm recording using other software, you can't simultaneously use the same thing, but I will try. At least you can, you know, listen to the lecture and while you're having your own video. Yes, Blackboard. I think most of you can submit your coursework through Blackboard. You know how to submit, yeah? So if you go to Blackboard, and you go to this module, and then there's a session called assessment. Yeah. Yes. It's the same as how you submit other coursework through Blackboard. There isn't any difference. And I don't know, some of you can still submit through eVision. That's why I mentioned, you know, you can also submit through eVision. But I think for most of us, you can submit through Blackboard. Yeah. Try to use my team and see if I can add 2 of you on my team. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. So our next session will be on Thursday. I will invite. Okay. And what's happen? Let me see. Okay. So I have invited 2 of you for next session. I hope you will see my invitation through Teams. If not, let me know. I'll try again. Yes, I certainly invited both of you. So Fei Yu and Jeff Haben, let me know if you receive the team invitation from me. So we'll try next time and see if you. So any other questions? You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you can see. Excellent, excellent. So hopefully, next time we'll have a team meeting. We'll. How many? Okay, good. Well, there isn't any limitation. There isn't any limitation for the reference, but you got to, because the bottom line is with no reference, because then I would challenge, how would you build up your coursework? Is it just based on your own imagination? Certainly not. So I wouldn't worry about the number of references, yeah? Because as long as you do your desk research, then you have to use information, you have to use sources, and you have to use references, yeah? And as I mentioned, it's always good to use some statistic data to substantiate your, no matter it's formative or summative coursework. So there isn't any limitation, but you cannot use no reference, because if you use no reference, then that means all your coursework is based on your imagination. Does that make sense? Yeah, good, good. And also, if you feel that you have done extensive, you don't have place to include them, and you can always put them in the appendix or appendices. Yeah, so appendices are not included in your Word account. So I can always have a look at your appendices. Okay. So we have plenty of time for you to ask questions. And you can feel free to type your questions on the chat board, and don't feel shy, because I couldn't see you. I don't know who you are apart from your name. So there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Yeah. Anything else? Any more questions? I think in this room, I think the only, let me see, I probably can recognize 3 people program a global business management. I remember the name and the face, but no more than that. So don't feel embarrassed to ask questions. Oh, the other thing is in your coursework, and don't use the first person's title, I, we. Yeah, don't use I am we. And do not introduce yourself. That's a problem sometimes I discovered in the coursework. Some of you tend to introduce yourself, the first person title, I think, and we think, we find. So try to avoid that. Yeah, and try to be objective. Don't use any, person's title like I, we. Can you guide which? Yes, if you, as I mentioned, if you have chosen a company, you're not sure, you can always email me. Yeah, you're welcome to email me your chosen coursework company and its home and host countries. Good. Any other questions? Do you know any good journals I have recommended? Have a look at your module outlines and also the reading materials on Blackboard for the session on government intervention. Yeah. So I think you'll have plenty information about the paper on institution and institution-based view. Yeah, that's a reading material. You only need to read some milestone literature or milestone articles. And its point is for you to read so many different ones because the core idea of papers, so it's always based on the milestone paper. So you only need to read the milestone paper, and that's it. So in some cases, but if you want to build up your understanding, of course you can read as many papers as you want. But a good approach is you Google. Use Google Scholar. You know, Shopee, how to use Google Scholar. And if you use Google Scholar, then you can, yes, at your level, to use Google Scholar. Yeah, if you want to search literature or papers. And materials, yes, I mean, let me think. Yeah, institutions, you know this World Bank. Let me see. So often, a commonly used source of information for scholars in the area of international business would be the World Bank. And you can have a look at the World Governance Indicator. Actually, because we don't have any so in the past, when we don't have this pandemic situation, when the module still have exams, I tend to have a session and train my student how to use the different source of international business data online. And one of the most important source is World Bank, World Governance Indicator. Let me type. Oh, wow. There you go. So I think that would be very comprehensive. and you can find most of your chosen home or host countries and the indicator you want to find. And it's a very comprehensive data set. Yeah, so you just need to spend a little while to figure out how to use it effectively, because they have so many different indicators, and to make sure it for. Yeah, so it might be helpful for other students as well, as long as you are in the area of international business. And this is always very comprehensive data set that you can find most relevant information on the particular country, about institutions and political and economic factors, and sometimes also about the population and entrepreneurship innovation as well, in fact. Yeah. Any other questions? And also, actually, World Bank is an organization that carries out various research on different developing or emerging or developed economies. If you have coursework for other modules, you can also find relevant information through the World Bank's database. As far as I remember, they have enterprise survey as well. In the area of international business. So they also focus on entrepreneurship, innovation. Yeah. Okay, so the last question. Don't worry, you got plenty time to ask questions, and the session is just for you to ask questions. So don't feel pressured for too many questions. Have a look at the slides for the second session. I have already provided you with a recommended structure for your formative coursework. Yeah, so on your Blackboard learning materials, in the second session, you'll find the slides on your formative coursework, and have a look at the slides. So there will be a recommended structure out there. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Any other questions? So this is a QR code again, just for some of you who joined later and didn't see the QR code before. No more questions? Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, I mean, even you forget to ask. Good, good, useful, good. I'm glad you find it useful. And if you don't have any questions, you don't have to stay here, and you can leave. Okay. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Sandeep. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Fei Yu. Sorry, I probably pronounced your name in the wrong way. It would be Yu Fei, right? Chinese name. Yeah, that's the way how to pronounce it. Sorry. Okay. Okay, let me see. Take another question. Okay. Oh, no worries, no worries. No problem. So are you based in Norwich? Or oh, okay, good, thank you. So okay. So your second name would be Fei. Yeah, Fei. I remember now. So you have a nice day as well. All right. Okay. One more question. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yes, it's online. Yeah, but this is the only online session, and you actually you don't mean to have any lecture for actually for this week. Well, not for this week, for this particular period, because this is a reading period, and the reason that I have this session is because your formative coursework is going to be due by next questions, and that's why we're having this session today. But usually you don't have to have a session today. Yeah. And I hope commuting from London to Norwich is it's not that difficult. I hope. Because I'm commuting myself as well. Yeah. But I think the train from Norwich to London is pretty convenient. Yeah. And it's actually the time of our lecture is convenient for you to travel because you can take early train and arrive in Norwich, yeah, by lunchtime, and then have the lecture and leave after 4 o'clock. Yeah. Mhm. You're welcome. Any more questions? So we have 3 people in this room.